Dante's Boxing Nation. We are here with promoter Bob. How you doing today, Bob?
Good.
All right, Bob. I want to just get to the thick of things. What's the latest with Bud Crawford? When can we see him in the ring again?
Well, we hope to have Terrence back in December, hopefully on December 14th in Madison Square Garden.
Do you have any idea who Bud is going to be fighting?
We got to sit down with Bomac and Bud and work out all the details. So I don't want to go into it until I've talked to them. But that's our target date, December 14th, Madison Square Garden for Bud Crawford's fight. It's the big date that ESPN has because it follows the Heisman Trophy Award, and it gets traditionally the biggest audience for boxing when you go with the boxing after the Heisman broadcast.
Okay, Bob. I got to ask you another question because the people are asking how close or how far are we from getting Bud in the ring with Errol Spence, and will you be paying attention to the fight with Sean Porter that's coming up?
Well, we're talking to Heyman now about which we signed a deal, Fury to fight Wilder next year, and hopefully with that arrangement we can talk seriously about Crawford and Spence fighting next year. I think that that's the fight that all boxing fans want to watch.
Bob, I got to ask you this question. You've been doing this for a while. I mean, you promoted some of the biggest fights in history. Bob, what's the difference between promoting a fight, Hagner Hearns and, Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagner and Muhammad Ali and Floyd Mayweather versus, now the fights of today, the fighters of today?
Well, it's a lot different because in the back then, Leonard and Hagler and those guys were shown to the American public on network television, free over-the-air television. And that really disappeared when the premium networks started doing fights. So the fighters of today, whether it's Crawford or Spence, are not as well known as Leonard and Hearns and Hagler, who had many fights on free television for big audiences on those network shows on Saturday and Sunday afternoon. Big difference.
Okay, Bob, I got to ask you this question also. I've seen Errol Spence. He showed up at some top rank events, and they showed him attending top rank events. But on the other side, you have now the PBC saying they're not even going to acknowledge the WBO belt that Bud holds. So how do you feel about the PBC not acknowledging the WBO belt?
It's stupid, I mean, a lot of it is directed at the envy that they know Crawford is the best welterweight out there, and they think they can make the public forget by having pictures of all the welterweight champions and supposed champion and not having Crawford's picture. That's pretty stupid and pretty petty. Everybody knows. Some people think that Spence can beat Crawford, but many people feel that Crawford will beat Spence. And let's get in there and let's settle it where it should be settled in the ring, not with this bullshit of saying I don't recognize a WBO title. I mean, who are they to say that? You could say, I mean, it's just silly.
Yeah, Bob, because I wanted to get deep into that. Do you think the problem now with boxing that you got fans now that's like fans of promoters now, where you got people that's like diehard Eddie Hearn fans, and you even got the diehard Bob Arum fans and the diehard Al Heyman fans? So do you
No,
think
well,
that's a problem?
no, that's not a problem. And, sensible promoters don't make it a problem. We have no problem with dealing with Eddie Hearn. We just sent Jose Ramirez, over to the zone to fight Hooker. And fortunately for us, Ramirez came out winning the other belt. I dealt my career with other promoters. I dealt with King on so many big fights. So, the attitude that fighters on one a block won't fight fighters on the other block. I don't adhere to that.
Okay, yeah, because yeah, it's getting frustrating not only as a reporter and a fan of boxing because you just hearing a lot of just stuff that just don't make no sense.
That's true. Doesn't make any sense.
Okay, and speaking of Jose Ramirez, man, great fight. He took care of business against Hooker, and there's talk of him moving up. But let me ask you something, Bob. If he stays at 140, would you like to match him up with Regis Prograis or Josh Taylor,
Yeah.
whoever wins that fight?
Unfortunately, we have two mandatories now that we have to do. One against Postal and one against this Irish kid, Cottrell. But hopefully, once we get over that, we would. I know Jose would like nothing better than to fight the winner of Josh Taylor and Progress and be able to unify all four belts.
Okay. Also, Bob. Okay. Yeah, they brushing me. I got it. I know you
Yeah,
got
I know.
business
I
to
got
take.
it.
I get it, Bob. So, one last question. I just wanted to get your take on the upcoming fight between Andy Ruiz, the guy you used to promote, versus Anthony Joshua.
I like Andy in that fight. You know, I think he has Joshua's number. Andy's a good fighter, courageous guy, and I think he comes out winning the rematch.
Okay, one last question, Bob. I don't know if you know, Adrian Broner said that if it's possible, he would like to fight Lomachenko at a catchweight of 135. Do you even would you know try to make that fight? Would you consider it pay-per-view or?
We program for ESPN. ESPN has certain standards. We're not interested in having ESPN telecast a fight with Adrian Broner, the way he acts and the way he speaks. We're just not interested. Period. End of story.
All right, thank you very much, Bob. Dante's Boxing Nation, we out.